Lexington Craft Beer Week is May 10th through 19th. There are 28 locations and over 55 events of any type. Some are at breweries. There are others that are at locations like Wenchell's or Shamrock or the Legends game. There's some at Drake's and the Burl. So a little bit of everything for everyone. So it's most of the local breweries that you love. The point of Craft Beer Week is to celebrate and promote and introduce those local breweries and what they're doing to Lexington. So the hope and the goal for Lexington Craft Beer Week is to introduce local breweries to the city and to people who maybe are familiar with some of the breweries but not the newer ones, or they try something new that they haven't had before. We want to introduce them to all of the things that the local craft beer community is doing. They're great advocates and supporters of the community outside of just beer, and they do a lot behind the scenes for the city of Lexington. So we want to support them and introduce the city to what they're doing and who they are. All of these breweries are all locally owned. They're all small businesses and all their owners are located here in town. So, we want to make sure that we're supporting them and what they're doing. They support the community through not just beer related things, but through outreach and community service and things like that. So, while it's great to support local businesses, we also want to make sure that people realize all that we have to offer when it comes to craft beer. Brewgrass Trail is a sponsor and partner of Lexington Craft Beer Week, and they've got the booklet that you can, take around to the different breweries, and they're doing a great job of helping promote that as well. But this just further continues that outreach and promotion of what's happening with the craft beer scene. Chris, the owner of Lex Beer Scene, and a couple of others felt like this was a great opportunity to introduce folks to the booming craft beer scene, but also to new things that they were doing. Through this series, there are a lot of new releases, a lot of collaborations that are happening but aren't happening as often. So he started this series with several of the breweries in town to promote that and promote what's going on, and hopefully somebody that's never tried a cider before leaves with a new love for cider, or if they haven't visited Fusion Brewing yet because it's new, they get a chance to go down there because there's something going on and it gives them an excuse to go check it out. So it's been going on for several years and continues to grow each year as far as length of time and number of participants. There's over 55 events this year, which is great, and it really brings in what they're doing. But each year they try to just get with the breweries and see what they want to promote and what they're trying to advocate for and go from there. So there are so many events, and again, there are some that are at breweries and not at breweries, so you can kind of pick and choose. Hopefully you can make it to all, but that's quite the 10-day schedule that you'll be having. But Ethereal is doing a Trials of the Sun Warrior release. Country Boy and West 6 are going to release another version of their Country Western, which is always a favorite. And the Country Boy Georgetown location's doing a beer cheese contest associated with this. All Tech is doing their home brew off and Pro-Am beer festival this year. Mirror Twins doing a big bottle release. Blue Stallion has Test Batch Tuesdays that they're running throughout the series. Fusion Brewing's releasing a mango guava sour, which is called Petri Dish and sounds pretty cool. And then West 6 is doing one of their West 6 for a Cause events to benefit Broke Spoke with Wenchell's, and they're doing a big beer dinner, which should be fun. So from the guest perspective, they love it because these events are easy to access and they're accessible by all. Obviously, you do have to be 21, but outside of that, there's no limits and there's no exclusions as to who can attend, which is great for them. And it's one of those scenarios where they might not necessarily show up to try a cider beer on their own accord, but because there's something going on, they'll go. It's part of a series. And they're excited about it, their friends are going, and it becomes a big thing, which makes it a little bit more appealing to go out and try something or go to a new place that you haven't been. From the brewery's perspective, I think they kind of see it the same way. It gets folks out that haven't been to their spot before, but it also gets people to try something that they maybe wouldn't necessarily be apt to try on their own. So, they like the exposure and the awareness and having this series where all everyone's talking about is craft beer. And the hope for them is that someone comes and tries it and then becomes a longtime regular guest. So the full list of events is on the Lex Beer Scene website, which is lexbeerscene.com/LCBW, which is Lexington Craft Beer Week. And it's got the full list of events there and links to each location or event or brewery's details. And then you can also find that information on Facebook. We've got a Lexington Craft Beer Week event that you can join, which will send regular updates on new announcements and goings on throughout the 2-week period, which will also tag, the locations and all of that. And of course, if you've got a favorite brewery, you can follow their social media pages and find out details on their events as well.